Hey Streets, let me tell you about this cool app that we've been using to help us along our podcast journey. So it's called Anchor and it's just really cool. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about that part. You'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms, and Anchor will do it all for you. Also, you can make money from your podcast, and everything you need to make a podcast is all in one place. It's awesome. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. We'll see you there. Welcome to Chapter 30. I'm Miss K.
And I'm Queen T.
This is a place for those women
and men
who feel that they have no one to talk to.
We're here. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey, Streets.
Hey, Streets. We're back.
Back with another one. We got Queen T.
Miss K.
And today, guys. Well, okay. Before we get into it, let's do some shout outs.
Yes.
All right. So let's start. I'm going to start with this one because this person has been just so supportive from day one. She reposts everything that we post on Facebook without just even telling. Like sometimes I'll just log in and I'll just see that something that we posted is shared from her. She has been giving us so much great feedback. She's actually given us an idea for one of the episodes that we recorded. She is super funny with her feedback, and I'm just like surprised whenever she says something that either that we said in the episode or something that she okay, I'll say something specifically. We were talking about how we were going to post the BDSM episode. I'm so ready for that one. And I was just like, oh, okay. And this person is actually my mother. So shout out to you, Bridget, Bridge B. Thank you so much for being a loyal Streets member. We appreciate you so very much.
Shout out to you. She's your day one for real.
Like, seriously. She is a Streets member. Like, she be putting her employees on and everything. Like, it's crazy.
Shout out to your mom. Like, she's amazing. Like, when you call me and tell me, like, the things that she says, like, I be rolling. Like, she's so supportive, so full of love, and, like, man, definitely a day one Streets member. So thank you so much. We appreciate
it. Thank you, mommy.
I love it.
Who's the next one?
All right. So another one of our loyal Streets members that I want to shout out is a day one as well. This is a longtime friend of mine. She's also my baby mama. She's my god kid's mother. So shout out to DeWanda. I just want to shout her out. And we appreciate all her support. I mean, I feel like the episode comes out and like an hour later, she's hooking us up with feedback, with just and like really like thought out feedback, you know, like you can
absolutely
tell and then put her heart and mind into it. So we really appreciate that. Always sharing. I don't know. It's just very, very much appreciated. So shout out to you, DeWanda. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for listening. And I haven't mentioned this, but I know a while ago, like I would always record things on social media. I still do every now and then. Just like saying stuff. I don't know. I'm always just talking. And she will be like, you should do a vlog. Like you should do this. You should do that. So she's another person that's always been supportive and pushed me to be like more creative and tune into that side. So thanks, babes. Shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to Wanda. Like she is like almost one of the most loyal Streets members. Like I can log on to our social media and I'll just know as soon as we post something, I know she's gonna be on it. Like, you know what I mean? Without a shout. And I don't even know her personally, but just through this podcast and through you, I just can tell how great of a person she is. So thank you so much, Wanda, for your support. It means so much to us.
It really does. And you know what? You just mentioned something that's so true. Like a lot of our supporters that are like my friends and family or your friends and family, like one of us doesn't know them that well, but they just show love to us collectively and they just come through and it just feels like family all around. Like this is
Absolutely. And
right.
they don't point out one or the other. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if it's my mother, she won't be like, "Oh, Queen T, you did a good job." No, she'll be like, "Queen T and K, love you guys." Like you know what I mean? Like it's a group thing. She includes the both of us. So I think that's super amazing.
For real, that's like never happened, like not once. And
No.
people that they'll come up to me like, "Oh, when Queen T, mind you, this will be a person that never met T before. When Queen T said this and that, I was like they'll really like you said, make it like a group effort, and I love that because that's what it is. Even if you don't know my partner, or even if you don't know me, like this is our baby. So I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Absolutely. It's actually really, really funny because I'll step back for a second. I'll be like, wait, you know her? Because they'll be like, yeah. They'll be like, wait, yeah, Kay was like, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yo, T, it's so intimate, and every day I'm reminded like just how intimate it is. Like, cause I'm like, yeah, when Queen T said that her, her ex, how you? I'm like, how you know? Like, but we're all just having this conversation together, and it's like, okay,
It's definitely Mr. Krabs sometimes. Like I'll be like, wait, oh yeah, we did talk about that.
for real.
All right, so the next person on that list is this person actually had I would say a huge part in one of the aspects of our podcast. He has been a loyal Streets member from day one. As soon as we came out with the idea to do the podcast, and before we even dropped our first episode, like when we were doing our promotion and just getting people used to the idea that we were going to come out with one, he was just on it from day one. Like, yes, like I can't wait to listen to it. I can't wait to see what you guys are coming out with, and so we did promotion for a little while before we dropped our first episode, and he was just like waiting, and he couldn't wait to hear the first episode. And there's a phrase that he said. He messaged me. He was like, "Listen, the streets are waiting." And I showed Miss K the message, and we both was like, "Oh wait, the streets."
Uh,
Like, okay, we might have to stick with that.
yeah.
So shout out to you, Poppy.
Shout out to
Um,
you.
yes, Poppy, you know who you are. Uh, he gave us the idea to actually call our audience the streets,
Mhm.
and he's also very um I would say intricate and consistent with his feedback. He lets us know straight up, like his his take on the episodes that we post, and gives us really, really good feedback. So thank you so much, Poppy. You are a loyal Streets member, and we appreciate you for your feedback and for your idea on the streets.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. Like, thank you to all the streets members. Like, we love you guys.
Love you so much. I think we got one more.
Do we?
Yeah, we got to shout out our merchandise person.
Hey, you're right.
Merch coming soon, guys.
Yes. We are so excited. T, you gotta tell them about all the feedback that you got when you posted the story. Oh,
Oh my god. Okay, guys. So, we are actually, let me just say this. We're actually working on getting some merchandise for Chapter 30 podcast. And so we've been talking to a few people and just getting some ideas out there. And we actually got our first prototype for a t-shirt for the podcast. And me being me, not thinking it through, just so excited to have the shirt. I went and posted it on Instagram, and literally like a minute after I posted, my freaking DMs were going off. Like, I want one. I need one of
yeah.
those. Like, what's up? Can I get one? Somebody was like, yo, I need one in 2X.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh shoot, I did not think that through. So again, shout out to you, Streets. Thank you so much for your support. Um, we do not have them for sale yet. It was just prototype for me and Miss K. But just so you know, it's a prototype, meaning we are working on it. but we just got to make sure that it's right before we get it to you guys.
Streets be watching and waiting for real. Like, it wasn't even 8 minutes, and you sent me screenshots like, yo, orders coming through. I'm like, yo, like, what?
Like, we were dead getting orders. I'm like, oh shoot, I was not ready for this. And I actually had to post something right after, like, guys, this is, like a disclaimer. Like, we don't have them for sale yet, but soon, soon.
And we'll be like so excited to see you guys like walking around with this streets member shirt, like just repping us like y'all always do. Like, that's gonna be an amazing feeling.
I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait.
So shout out to Custom Forge 36.
Hey.
We created our shirts. We are doing some dealings with her, and I just want to shout out her information in case you're looking for merchandise. So her email is customforge36@gmail.com. It'll be in our description, so feel free to check it out because it is spelled a little different. So check that out. She is taking orders for cars or wall decals, small to medium size, and also shirts and small craft orders like cards, birthday invitations, and so on. So she's doing a lot, and she's an amazing person. So check out her information in the description below. Hit her up if you have any questions, and she'll be happy to assist.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for our shirts. They are so amazing. I love them so much.
Thank you. I don't know why I felt so shy to say that. I like stumbled my way through that. I feel so shy. I don't know.
No, you did good.
That. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say
it again. Official?
Yeah, it felt different. Like, oh, like just I don't know. It's so different.
We out here.
We working.
I mean, a little something. We got a little something in the works.
Oh, see, we gotta do another shout out because they shouted us out.
Oh, facts on facts. You want me to do it?
Yeah, girl.
All right. So, okay. I'm gonna just. It's so hard not to just say something. Like, you gotta give a little background.
Give the background.
I'm gonna I'm just give a little background because I don't think y'all understand how this podcast world is so crazy. Like, it's a whole pod world, guys. Like, I know I said this when our episode with Tiana, they knew us in our ratchet days. They knew me in my ratchet days. But there is just a whole podcast world out there, and it's almost like having frat brothers, you know what I mean, and sisters, sorority sisters. It's almost like that type of feel to it. And we've really built a lot of connections just through doing this podcast. And these dudes are so freaking funny. Like, I love listening to their podcast. They speak what's on their minds, and it's like no holds bar. But it's also I think a really well-rounded podcast because they do touch on topics that are prevalent in today's society. They speak on, just Black issues and politics and whatever's going on in social media. So they give you a good laugh. They give you the real as well. You know what I mean? It's really intellectual. So shout out to What's Up With It podcast. It's up. It's up. Y'all know the vibes.
Go check out their podcast, guys. They're so cool. Like, their personality is so funny. Like, I'll listen to it when I'm working, and I'll feel like I'm just at the table with them. I'm laughing, I'm cackling, all that. Like, good vibes.
Yes. Listen, once I caught up on all the episodes, I was so mad. Like, every Thursday, I'm like, okay, I need another one. So, shout out to y'all. What's up with it?
Out.
Is there anything going on in the social media world? I feel like I don't be knowing anything.
I feel like there's a lot going on. What have we been talking about lately, personally?
What you done for me lately? We had a really deep conversation the other day. What were we talking about?
I don't know. You know.
I don't. I forget.
Remember? I
No. Give me a word.
girl.
Is this something we can't talk about on the podcast? Oh.
Yeah, I can give you a word. Mm.
Okay, next. How's the
Next.
weather?
Thank you. Next. I'm good.
I will say though that Dave Chappelle skit was crazy.
Oh, that's kind of new, newish. That comedy what show special that was really good.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did.
What'd you think?
I loved it. He's hilarious.
I absolutely
Mm.
love Dave Chappelle.
He's so
Like,
comfortable in his skin and so comfortable in his funny. Like I just love that. You know. Like
yes. And he doesn't have to do too much. Like, I like that he's not like a slapstick type of humor. Like, he can just stand there and talk, and the shit is funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just talking, but you are dying laughing.
just me picturing his face right now. I'm like laughing.
Like, that's a whole gift when you could just stand in front of thousands of people and just speak what's on your mind. Like, and people are dying laughing, like crying.
Right.
He has a gift.
Back.
Actually, I'm gonna ask you this question because I've actually grown in my whole listening to other people's podcast thing. Like, I'm doing it now.
I love it.
So this has actually come up in a few other podcasts that I've listened to where people are kind of, I wouldn't say debating, but just like listing their top five comedians.
I was gonna ask
Um,
that. That's so funny.
really? Okay,
That's
okay.
talking about Dave. I'm like, okay, ask her. But I was gonna say top two. That's funny.
Oh, top two is hard.
I know.
Maybe three. Let's say three.
We could even do five. I'm horrible with lists. I'm horrible with
So
like
am I.
this is the best. Like I'm horrible with that because everybody has well not everybody, but my faves they all have that something that it's hard for me to put one above the other. Like
It's very hard to compare them.
exactly, I'm horrible with that.
Yeah,
Like to me, I'm like I like apples. I like oranges. I like grapes.
exactly.
I like watermelon. You know,
Ab-
so
right. Okay, so without comparing them, what would you just name your top five comedians?
oh, this is hard. Martin. Um,
Yep.
damn, this is hard. And I was thinking about this too. That's funny. Okay, Martin is one. Um, I like Chris Rock.
Really?
Dude, he grew on me.
I might have to like watch some more of his stuff.
He
I
grew
just can't stand his voice. It's just so annoying to me.
he grew on me a few years ago. Like I remember thinking like I do not like this dude, but then like I started listening to him. He has me rolling. He grew on me. So Chris Rock, Martin. Let's put Dave Chappelle in there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, this is hard. Uh, DL Hughley, like that's what I'm saying. Like he's been giving me some chuckles lately. Like this with different specials that I've been watching of his. Who else? Let me come back to that last one. Go, because I got to think about this. This is hard.
Okay. My number one is gonna be Richard Pryor. Um,
Class.
like that's it. I'm not even gonna say anything about it. Richard Pryor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dave Chappelle for sure. I'm gonna go with Bernie Mac.
He was on the tip of my tongue. That's my
Bernie Mac for sure. Um,
for him. Is it like his show or his stand up or both?
it's just him as a person. He's
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. Like he didn't have to do anything. He could be in the show. He could be doing a freaking
uh,
interview, like
he
stand up.
like he's just unapologetic Bernie. Like it's just
Right. Like he's just funny as a person. Um who else? Who else? Huh?
I said that's a hard question.
It really is because you know what? I feel like it's really hard for me to actually really like comedians. Like because for me it's I like the comedians who don't look like they're putting on a show.
Right, who don't gotta try too hard.
Exactly. Like once they start, like I don't like the Kevin Harts. I don't like the Tiffany.
I don't
Like
like her.
I don't. It just seems so gimmicky to me. Like it's too gimmicky. I like the chill, like just talk to me and make me laugh type of comedy. I like kind of like a dry humor type of comedy. Like I don't like the oh you doing all this and like it's just too much for
Like
me.
I used to feel like I was the only person in the world who did not like Kevin Hart. Like I just it's not my thing. Like and
Mm-mm.
like I know his formula. Like I know what he goes to. Like
Right.
pretty obvious. And it just doesn't it's not for me. Can't knock his hustle. He do have
Right.
a hustle, but he's not funny to me. Tiffany Haddish either, no shade. Um for my fifth one, you know what, I'm gonna give an honorable mention kind of situation. It's gonna be a family. The Wayne's family. Like shout out to them. Like just
Hmm.
their hustle, their work, just as a family. I've been like listening to some of Marlon Wayne's interviews, and just in general, I've been hearing like they don't really get their flowers now, like that.
Mm.
And I gotta give that family just the tip of the hat because they're really talented and just overall like their work is pretty solid. So I give
Unpop Unpopular opinion.
uh-huh. You know they're funny.
Well, yeah, but I do not like white chicks.
I love white chicks.
Everybody loves white chicks, and I'm just like, this is so whack. Like, it's so whack.
Like with me, I'm a kind of person that's like it doesn't like if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like it's
Hmm.
like I can't be like you don't like white chicks. What?
Right.
Like okay, it's like you like we all don't have to like it. Like when people like you don't like Kevin Hart, like we all don't have to like it. That's the beauty of the world. There's so many things to choose from. Like
Exactly.
and we don't have to jump on a bandwagon and like something just because it was the number one this or like you could like a movie that did horrible in the box office or a comedian that nobody knows. Like I don't think that's weird. I'm like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
like
All
so
right, so I still have two more. I'm still thinking of one. This one, oh no, I got it. I got my two.
uh-huh.
These are both going to be unpopular opinions.
Uh-huh.
So one of them is actually the brother of the probably who everybody thinks is the funniest person in the world. Freaking Charlie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Murphy. I'm just thinking about this. Have you seen his like cuts from the Chappelle show
No.
where he's
Maybe one.
oh my god, there's just these stories. He's such an amazing storyteller. Like he's telling these stories about when he was with Rick James and like it's just so you have to go back and watch it. Like I was literally crying just the way that he tells these stories. Like he was super funny. Rest in peace. Um,
Yeah, rest in peace.
and my last one is gonna be, of course, you know who's gonna be
I have a feeling, but say it.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. Gotta
But
give
that's just my boo. Like I honestly don't even think that he's the funniest person in the world, but that's my boo. So and he's super talented. Like he's freaking he does everything. He's freaking actor, singer, musician, comedian, freaking everything. So I gotta give it to him.
right. And that's crazy because I was watching an interview on Nick Cannon's like radio show and he had Marlon Wayans and they were doing like a top 10. I mean that top 10 they were going in because they're both comedians per se
Right.
going in and I think he was like an honorable mention and they said the same thing like he's just across the board like a dope entertainer like they don't make them like that quite often like he can
Absolutely. He's so well rounded.
so well rounded so I gotta give respect to him. And did you hear that Eddie Murphy's gonna come back to stand up or go back to?
I would that would be amazing because he
Yeah.
like didn't do stand up a lot.
No, and they're like legendary.
Absolutely. I would love for him. I like where has he been?
You know he's done his acting, and then he kind of just chilled, like maybe focus on the family. I don't know, maybe just you know sometimes when you like he's done so much, he's
He's done a lot.
I'm like nervous and excited at the same time for him to come back because he did his thing. And sometimes when people come back to stuff, it's like, nah, like, don't mess with greatness. So I'm like, I hope he come back and I hope he smashes it because,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Speaking of the Waynes, did you watch Sex Couplets? Is that the name of the movie?
I did.
What'd you think?
I actually watched it again for the second time today. When I was getting my hair done. Um, I laughed. I laughed a few times in it.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing him talk about it, like, it made me proud, for him because he put so much work into it. It's not like a top, favorite movie. Like, it's not my movie I'm gonna watch if I want to like cry my eyes out. But it was, I don't know how to say it. It was not predictable, but it was like, how you know an artist and you kind of know their formula and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
their work. It was that. But shout out to him. What did you think about it?
It's just not my type of humor.
Right.
Um, I could see how other people would like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just tired of that. Like,
Right.
and like I just really like dry sarcasm type of humor. So, and I'm just gonna be honest, there's not a lot of black comedians that do the type of humor that I like
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to movies. So, like the type of movies that I watch that are like that I think are hilarious are like super bad, like
Mm-hmm.
40-Year-Old Virgin, those type of movies. And we don't do movies like that. Like I just wish there was a lot more variety
Mm-hmm.
in the type of movies that we put out in general, not just when it comes to comedy. Like I
Right.
said I said this before that I really liked Acrimony just because it gave a different type of aspect to our movie making. Even with what's his name? Peel.
Yep.
When he did us in Get Out, like I supported that so much just because it gave us a different. I'm just so tired of like the hood ratchet movies. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, let's get out the box and do something else. So that's
Yeah.
another reason why I'm like I don't want to watch Night School. Like I
Oh,
already know what it's gonna be. You know what
right.
I mean? Like Kevin Hart has been playing the same
Ah,
person since Soul Plane. Like he's playing the same
right.
freaking.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like let's switch it up. It gets boring sometimes.
It does. Because we don't have to be predictable. Like, we're so versatile. We're not all the same. Let's throw the stereotypes away. Like, I want to go
Yes.
and not know what's gonna happen before I even sit down. Like, I'm not gonna go see that movie. And um I agree with you on that. Like, we don't have to use this formula anymore. Like, we passed that. We've never even really been on it. It's just been the way. Like, we've always,
Yeah.
stuck to
Hmm.
ran with it because it's what sells and it's what's expected. But we passed that.
Exactly. Like let's switch it up a little bit. It's okay. We're gonna support you regardless.
And the same, like, I feel the same way. I didn't watch Us, but with what's the other one?
Get out.
Get Out. Like, is it my top 5 movie, my top 10 movie? No, but when I watched, I said, okay, I appreciate what this man is doing. He's creating. Like, I don't want
Hmm.
to watch this. And there's even some like non-black movies that I watch. And I'm like, okay, I'm over this. Like, just movies sometimes, period, but I do especially see it in our culture. But just movies sometimes, period, you just get tired of especially like romantic comedy, like just kind of in general though. You just get tired of
Yeah.
being like, oh, she's gonna play hard to get, and then this, and then that, and then that, and like the dramatic scene, like, you know,
Hmm.
over.
Absolutely. Which Friday was the best?
Girl, I never watched that movie before.
You never saw Friday?
Never. I know. I meant to watch it. I told myself to watch it before this year is over. Watch all of them. And guess what? I never watched Bad Boys 1 or 2.
My jaw is on
I
the
know.
floor.
It's weird. I don't understand. I don't understand why. But I saw, the third one, right? I guess the third one's coming out. I'm like, okay, you gotta watch 1 and 2 because you got.
Yes, you have.
I was
Okay, This is a big debate. A lot of people have been debating whether Bad Boys 1 or 2 is better. In my opinion, Bad Boys 2 is freaking hilarious. But okay, just come back to me when you watch them.
Lord, how many Fridays is it?
There's Friday, next Friday, Friday after next. I think there's 3.
Okay, so I gotta watch 3 Fridays, 2 Bad Boys.
Yes.
But I did see, the list. You saw the list going around of all the popular Black movies.
No, what's on them? I'm gonna let you know if I saw them.
Coming to America. I'm gonna screenshot it and send it to you.
Okay.
But I saw a good chunk of them.
Okay. I feel like there may be a few that I didn't see, but like I feel like all the staple ones,
right.
I probably have. Like Crooklyn was my movie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love Crooklyn.
Classic. He was so fine. Spike Lee.
Spike Lee is just he's something else.
Genius.
Yes. What's another one? Juice. Of course, Tupac. Hello, had to see that.
Coming to America.
Yeah, absolutely, multiple times.
And that's different. Like, I think that's of a movie with its own, mind. Like it just. I mean, it's a romantic comedy, but you're gonna know that in the end, love, la la la. But it's funny. It's different.
I think that was. It's such a big movie because it was super creative for its time.
Exactly.
Like nothing like that had really been out like that,
We be showing out sometimes. What about oh my God, Boomerang?
You know what? I feel like I have seen it, but I don't remember.
I've seen it and I heard
I can't quote it.
Same. Another podcast, they were talking about it and just how it was ahead of its time, had so many greats in it, and they were just raving about it. And I seen it and I love it because Boomerang introduces my favorite singer, Toni Michelle Braxton, to the scene. There's a whole backstory to that, not going there today. But so I'm in love with it because so I watched it, but I need to rewatch it again. So that's on my list too. So we both got to check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that one again.
What else is there?
And I'm also not a huge Eddie Murphy fan, so that may be why I'm just like, oh, okay.
And it's so weird because I thought I wasn't, but I like him in Boomerang, what I can remember, sort of, kind of. But I got to watch it again. And I love Shrek. Like, do you like Shrek?
I like Shrek, but I'm not a huge Donkey fan.
Shrek? You know what's so funny about Shrek? The freaking adult humor and, like, just the little stuff that happens, like I got a bunch of nieces and nephews, so I'll be watching it with one of them, and there's just so much that's going on that they don't even know, and I'm just like dying. Like, I love that series.
You know what's a good example of that?
It's called.
There's a cartoon that has me on the floor every time I watch it. SpongeBob.
Oh my God, I hate SpongeBob.
Me and my other best friend, we will be dying laughing watching SpongeBob because that's the type of humor I'm talking about. That like that undertone, you know what I mean, of like just sarcasm, and there's so much adult humor in that show. Like I'll be dying watching SpongeBob.
It's so aggy, like but I know what you mean by like the humor.
Like it's a cartoon, but it's like smart humor. You know what I mean? I like that humor that you got to kind of think about.
Exactly. Or like when you watch it again, you didn't see that, but now you see it and it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Like
what's another staple movie? Oh, New Jack City.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to watch that now.
That was a good one.
Fresh.
What's Fresh?
Oh, that's it's like with this little boy and I don't even know how to explain it. There's so much that goes on in the movie.
Let me Google it. I think I like that movie.
It's an old movie.
That's my movie. Girl.
That movie, girl. I can't watch that. Like, that's not a movie that I could just watch at any time. Like, because it's so deep, it's so heavy. Like, that movie, right? Who directed that? Like,
yo, the 90s was crazy.
90s was on something else. Like,
I gotta say, we had our stereotypes. There was a lot of drug action going on. We weren't always depicting ourselves or being depicted in the best light, but there's some gems. Shout out to those gems.
Like shout out, because we was popping in the 90s. Like we still popping, we forever popping. But
Forever.
there was something golden about the 90s. Was definitely a golden era.
Yes, it was.
It's so funny because one of my friends, he's always like, Tanisha, I have to bring you back to like 2019. 'Cause, like he'll tell me about a song or whatever, and I'll be like, who is that? Like, what is that? I don't even know. And then I'll be singing like Brandy or something. He's like, Tanisha, he literally sends me songs every day, just like to try to bring me back into, into this time period. Because I'm definitely like in a time warp. Like I'm stuck in the 90s. Like I got a toe in, I got a little toe in
Exactly.
2019. But it was just such a golden era that I'm just like, it's hard.
Like, can we stay here? I like it here.
It's hard to let go.
Give me two 90s sitcoms you like. Don't have to be ranked, but just two that you like.
Dang, I wasn't prepared for that.
And laugh and be like, yo, this is hilarious.
Okay. Martin,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
That's just
Like that's a given.
right. It's just so funny.
This one, I mean, I didn't really like laugh my ass off, but I feel like this was just like a staple go-to show that I really, really love was Family Matters.
Yeah. It was comforting, like you said, staple, go to. Remember TGIF?
Yes.
Girl.
Yes.
It was like, okay, my shows. You know what's one of my favorite shows ever that it used to be two of my favorite shows ever that I could just watch at any time. And like, I don't know, like I could have the craziest day, but when I watch these shows, like, I don't know. Roseanne. Like,
Really? Okay.
but ever since she, saying that she
Yeah.
was too much,
Hmm.
it's just too much going on. But if I can separate her from what she said, the show at that time, man, that was my like comfort zone. And number one, the Golden Girls.
Golden Girls. I knew you were gonna say that.
Like,
I'm done.
oh, the Golden Girls, like they're not. Well, Golden Girls isn't '90s, and was Roseanne '90s? But I'm just thinking about them, so I mentioned them. Like, OMG, I love Martin too.
Sister,
Do you,
Sister. I used to love that show.
yeah, that show's classic. Do you like Living Single?
Living single. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Friends?
Yes, I love Friends.
I never watched Friends. Like I could never get into it. And I just recently saw this debate where like they were like, Friends stole like Living Singles like not plot, but not essence.
Concept.
Yeah, concept. And it was just this whole thing. And I was just like, ooh, like I didn't read the whole thing, but
Oh, that's
it's a
interesting.
think piece on everything these days. So I was like, oh wow. But I've never watched an episode of Friends.
I used to love Friends. I love that one. You know what's so funny? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like a super super Seinfeld.
Oh,
Like they
uh-huh.
love Seinfeld, and the writer of that show, what's his name? Larry something.
Mm-hmm.
He actually came out with a show called Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh gosh.
Have you seen that show?
Not in whole, but it is. That's a dry humor. Do you like that?
I the other night I was rolling around on the floor, dying laughing. Like I love that show.
Yeah,
He's just super funny to me. Yeah, that dry humor, like that's it.
a lot in there. Yeah,
That's the key to my heart. So
I want to watch that.
he
I never watched Seinfeld though.
okay, so listen, so he's Curb Your Enthusiasm, the same writer and actually the star in that show is the person who wrote Seinfeld.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I feel like I've seen a few episodes back in the day, but I would never like really got into it. But because this person was like, oh my God, such a super, super huge fan, I was like, okay, let me just try to check it out. Like, I watched one episode and I was like, okay, let me not judge it. Let me just watch another episode.
Mhm.
I did not laugh one time, like maybe a little chuckle, but I'm just, and this is like, I like dry humor. I like sarcasm and stuff. So I was just like, I don't get it. But it does have like a super cult type fan base. Like there are people who just love Seinfeld. And it's
Hmm.
just not me. Like I did not find it funny at all.
And that's okay, because everything ain't for everybody. You know?
Right. Exactly. I thought I would like it because I like Larry so much, like in Curb Your Enthusiasm, but mm, no.
And you know what too? Like I heard somebody say like they watched a season of one show and they didn't like it at all, and they got to season two and like it's one of their faves. So what if it's like that where you get to the next season and you're like, oh my gosh.
You know what? That's how I was with Power.
Oh, okay.
Because before there was like all this hype around Power, I watched it like when it first came out. I tried to watch like the first 2 or 3 episodes and I just was not into it. Like I was just like, no, okay, it's all right.
Right.
But then after the hype, I was like, let me just go back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really, really got into it and I was like binge watching it. And I actually had this conversation with somebody, was it today? I think actually. And we were just talking about just TV shows, and he was saying how he doesn't he watches shows when he wants to watch them because
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want TV to like control him. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to feel like, oh, I have to get in and watch a show. Like, and I felt that because I'm not caught up on Power. Like I was into it, but I stopped watching it because like in the middle of a season, not even after the season was over, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just give it a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important sometimes, like not
Yes.
to get like because of course, like we have a lot of things. I'm going to work. We have a lot of things that are like meant to entertain us,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be like movies, TV, music, whatever. But like we just can't get too wrapped up into it. You know what I mean? Like where we have to run home, rush, watch it. Like it's still gonna be there.
Right.
Like just don't forget to live your life. And sometimes it's more of a distraction than entertainment.
Right.
Which is not always, at least watch a TV show instead of going to the bar and drinking a gallon of liquor. But um I just thought that was an interesting point that he brought up that like, he doesn't want it to control him, so he'll just watch it whenever and not like, to be a part of the hype or be a part of the crowd.
The hype is just something I can't do.
Yeah.
Oh, I swear that's probably like one of the main things I'm always saying. Like I can't wait. Oh my god! Oh my god! Like where you go on social media, everybody's talking about it. Like I don't like that, and I don't like try to go against the hype, but I don't go into the hype. Like you said, I'll take a step back and I'll watch or listen to it on my own terms, with my own eyes, with my own ears. But like
Right.
I want to be a part of that, and it's not because I want to be different or opposite. It's just I like to go to the beat of my own drum. Like I just then people were like, no, don't say what happened. I didn't watch it yet. Oh, like it's just this whole thing that like Mr. Krabs all the way. Like when they're talking about it, I'm just like, I just can't. Like,
Right.
like it's just
Sometimes hype will turn me off from something.
right. It doesn't
Like
help.
if it's too much hype, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till it's died down and then I'll because you can kind of I don't think it's so much of for me so much of like just wanting to be against the crowd as much as I don't want to be persuaded in any type of way. You know what I mean? I just want to, like you said, look at it from my own set of eyes and get my
Yeah,
own opinion about it. So it's kind of hard to do that when everybody's like jumped in and like a
exactly.
freaking mob. And it's kind of
Exactly.
crazy to have your own opinion on it. So it's like, okay, sometimes I'll just step away and just get my own point of view when I want to.
That part. Because
Hmm.
we both said not to be against anything. Like, but it's just like you said, you want your own point of view, and yeah. And then my thing too is like I there's some people that I know are watching things not because they enjoy it, but because everybody else is on it, and that's just weird to me. Like,
Hmm.
and we kind of touched on that in our first episode, self awareness. Like, just be mindful of doing and listening to things that you want to listen to. Like, we live in such a culture where like oh, we're gonna go here. Yeah, everybody goes here. And don't get me wrong, I used like when I used to go out, I wanted to go to the clubs and stuff that everybody went to, quote unquote, everybody. So we kind of just it's like what mob culture. I don't know. Like we just kind of like go with the masses sometimes, and it's just like, but what if I don't
Sheep
like that?
culture.
Keep culture for sure. So sometimes it's just like, just take a step back and like just live your life. Life is so short and things are so crazy. Like I just want to be happy and do what I want to do.
Absolutely. And not saying that if you like what everybody else likes, that that's something wrong with that. You
Nothing.
know, like you can, there's a reason why everybody likes it. Like,
Exactly.
so there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just like make sure that is what you like.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. If you like it, I love it. But like you said, make sure you like it.
Right, exactly. And you're not just listening to other people liking it and thinking that you like it.
Uh huh.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Really do.
Wow.
I know. This was interesting.
I wasn't expecting this. Guys, I know we don't have to say this anymore, but we're going to say it. This is 100% freestyle. Like, just randomly. We don't have any notes. This is
Yeah.
basically just us having a little girl talk.
Right. Just press and play and whatever comes out. And then that's just it.
Exactly. And I kind of wanted to soften the blow because should I just segue into it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the next topic that we're talking about is going to be a little heavy. Um, so we'll just jump right into it. We actually have a "We Are Here" from the streets. Again, shout out to the streets. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your feedback and your input. Thank you so much for messaging us, DMing us, texting us, calling us, um,
Mm-hmm.
and entrusting us with your stories and your questions, and just trusting that we will give you the answers that you're hopefully looking for, and just opening up that dialogue, that we're not going to have all the answers, we're not going to have all of the ideas for what you guys want us to discuss, you know what I mean? So just thank you so much for giving us that, for allowing us to talk about the things that you guys want us to talk about.
Yes, and like to everyone that's emailed us or messaged us or called us or came up to us in person with a "We Are Here" or any kind of topic that you wanted us to discuss, like we truly appreciate that. And like T said, like thank you for trusting us with that. And if you gave us a "We Are Here" a while ago, maybe like a month ago or a few weeks ago, like do know that it is something that we're praying over and that we are going to discuss soon, like things with our schedules and just life, happens. But do know that it's something that we do hold dear to us, and we got you. We're here.
We are here, absolutely. So this next "We Are Here," this one wasn't worded so much as like a question or a certain piece of advice that they wanted, but um they did reach out and say that they wanted us to discuss abuse. This person wants us to discuss verbal abuse specifically, but we will discuss the different types of abuse. Um, and specifically, they said they wanted us to talk about early signs, when to leave, and how to cope afterwards. So basically, beginning, during, after. Um, this one is for verbal abuse. So I guess we'll start off with the different types of abuse and kind of go into examples of those. What do you think, Miss K?
That sounds good.
Okay, so I pretty much have been through all of them, so I think I'll have a good uh, perspective on the abuse type of topic. So I guess I'll start off with emotional abuse because that's my most recent experience. Um, and I think emotional abuse is more so when someone is using your feelings against you. Um, and a way to do that is, see, this is somebody who knows you. Like, this is somebody who knows how you're going to react in a situation. Um, and they know how to kind of flip a situation to work in their favor. So if they know that you're a sympathetic person, an empathetic person, they know that, this is something that kind of hits you, um, hit you at your heart. You know what I mean? Like they can say things that will manipulate the situation in their favor. So, what's a good example of this? Okay, so I know somebody who they are, let's say they know they're wrong. They did something wrong. They know they were wrong. They'll start to, when, like, let's say you start to argue with them, they'll start to get louder and louder and louder. And this can kind of border the line of verbal and emotional, but just that act of like trying to be louder instead of like making more sense is kind of like trying to um intimidate you. It's
Mm-hmm.
trying, you know what I mean? It's trying to kind of use your emotions against you. So if I get loud and you get intimidated, then you're gonna back down and like everything is gonna be okay again. And that's, you know, that's a form of emotional abuse. Or um if, you know what, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I've been teetering this line, but forget it. I'm just gonna throw this out there. My previous ex, he used to say things like, um, I'm gonna kill myself. And that is something that most people don't play with. You know what I mean? That's something that is very serious. And you would think that somebody wouldn't just say that if they weren't serious. But just me knowing him, after a while, I realized that he was just using this. Like he was just using that sentence to manipulate me because he knew that I would feel bad if he said that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a form of emotional abuse. Like people just using words or phrases that they know are going to cause a reaction, an emotional reaction inside of you to make you feel bad, to kind of flip the situation. So, for example, if I'm mad at him for a reason of something that he did, you know, the whole, it won't just go straight to I'm gonna kill myself, but you know, there's a whole argument or there's a whole silent treatment going on. You know, there's it's just not working out well, the relationship. Then okay, to get everything back together again, I'm going to say I'm going to kill myself, and then she's going to feel bad, and then you know, then we'll just make up and we'll be good. When I'm like, okay, if you're going to kill yourself, then that means you need to go talk to somebody. You know what I mean? Like we need to get this fixed. It's not just, oh, I'm going to forget this. You know, like okay, we're going to be okay. You're going to kill yourself. Let's kiss and make up. No, like if you're saying that, that means you have a real problem, you have a real issue, and we need to get it fixed. Um, but after I started realizing that it was happening more and more often, like the first time I'm like, you know, I'm gonna take it serious, obviously. Um, but once you start realizing that pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say like, okay, you're not gonna do anything about it, just do it, you know, like, but you're just saying those words. It's kind of like, okay, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're trying to manipulate the situation,
Mm.
and that is a form of abuse.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. Um, the next form, I guess, would be verbal. And I mean, this one is kind of cut and dry, straightforward. This would be somebody, I guess I would call this kind of like bullying in a way. Somebody who is, it's so crazy because these things kind of just melt into one another
Mm.
because you know verbal and emotional can definitely, obviously if somebody is saying something that they know is going to hurt your feelings,
Woo.
like that's going to be emotional abuse as well. But I feel like verbal abuse is just more aggressive in a way where somebody can emotionally abuse you and still be calm. You
Mm.
know, they can be calm and just like just say something that they know is going to tug at your heartstrings. But I feel like verbal is just more just nasty, like you know somebody just spitting venom, like this the stuff that they say. Hmm.
No, I said yes.
Yeah, like so actually the person that sent us this we are here, you know, um the person that they're dealing with called them a fat bitch,
Mm.
and that's verbal abuse right there. Like Um, somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, these are not words that you say to that person. This is not a form of love in any type of way.
Right.
So, and it can be anything around those areas. Like if somebody's just speaking to you in a way that is just disrespectful and rude, it's just a form of verbal abuse. Fat bitch, you're ugly, you're worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are words that just you would not use to describe somebody that you love.
Right.
And normally it's like, it's so sad because normally it's when you open up to somebody, and this
Oh,
is why so many people are so afraid to open up, because these type of people use what you tell them
that part.
and turn it around back against you. So let's say, for example, you opened up to this person and I don't know, you felt like you had an issue with your weight. Maybe it's something that's been ongoing. Maybe you feel insecure about your weight. And at the time they're, they're there for you. They're,
Mm-hmm.
um, oh, I can understand. I love you anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about your weight. Let's say they're saying this type of stuff. And then later on, let's say you get into it,
Mm-hmm.
now all of a sudden you're a fat bitch.
Yeah. That part.
That's something to be wary of. Like,
But
once somebody shows that, then that means they're going to continue to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like they show their real face.
yeah, believe them.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think?
I've dealt with verbal abuse, and like you said, that emotional abuse kind of bleeds into it. So
Hmm.
some instances with that, and it's tough. And it's a slippery slope. Like, you don't walk, well, most people don't walk into it like, oh, I'm about to go get abused. Like you really, like, you start off being vulnerable and open, and sometimes there are no signs. And I know,
Mm.
speak in my case. In my case, there were no signs that I saw, that I discovered. Yeah. We were both vulnerable with one another, and um this person read me very well.
Hmm.
I think he took my sensitivity and my kindness and my, being like empathetic and sympathetic to things as a weakness. And then like during the times when we were good, he took it as a strength. He uplifted it. He nurtured it.
Mm.
And it was those abusive times, like he abused it. So for me, I didn't know it was that kind of situation until I was in it and I saw it. But
Mm.
then I was so vulnerable and open, and like, their manipulator. Well, in my case, the person was a manipulator, and that sorry that comes after all of that. Oh,
Mm.
what's wrong with me? I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm like that. Like,
And that's all a part of it too.
it
That's the
is.
sad part.
It is. And that part used to get me. And
Mm.
I would tell my friends what happened. They're like, They would be so upset. But guess what? In a day or two or even an hour, we kissed and made up, and he's gonna do better. He's gonna try. He didn't really mean that.
Mm.
He loves me. He cares about me. Da, 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 all that good stuff. So it used to be scary. And like, for me, after the first time, I knew what it was. I was like, oh shit. Like, no, yeah, first time I knew what it was, because he was a different person. Like, that time versus, like, just in general. And he would bring that side out of him when he was going through stressful times, and it would just come out on me. And
Mm.
it it's a scary place to be in. And for anyone going through any kind of abuse, like, my heart goes out to you, because it can take it can take a lot to get yourself out of that place, because it can get really dark and really scary, because
Hmm.
mentioned, you get so vulnerable, you're so open, and like, it just gets so sticky, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but whew,
And
it,
I think there's a large group of people within society that kind of look down on people that get abused.
yeah,
There's a sense of shame there,
right.
where like, And also, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I would never be in that situation. And
Like,
then they get in that situation. So
right,
now they feel shame. You know what I mean? Now they're like, oh my God, like, I can't talk about this because I'm this person. I can't be that person.
right,
And then it's just like, there's a lot of people who don't feel comfortable enough to talk about the situation, to open up about it, because there's that sense of shame. And there, like, people joke about, there's comedians that joke about it, like, I know the first time it's time for me to go, blah blah blah. There's a lot of situations that you don't know what you would do until you're in that situation. And if you're a real friend, a real family member, or whatever, all that we can do is just be there to be able to talk to that person, you know what I mean, for them to have somebody to talk to. um because it's it's never that easy. If it was that easy, people wouldn't just be in those situations. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are going through a lot of stuff that we don't know about and that they don't talk about on a daily basis. You don't never know what's going on in somebody's mind.
right.
Um, and there's a reason why they get into these situations. Like, it's so scary when you think about it, because there are people out there who can just like smell
Mm-hmm.
that you have this insecurity, or that you're dealing with this, and instead of wanting to just help or nurture,
Mm-hmm.
they want to take advantage of it.
Right.
And it's
That part.
sad. And the people who are saying that, I would never be in this situation, okay, one, never say never. Two, you may not be in that headspace. Like, you don't know what headspace this person is in.
Right.
um and good for you if you're not. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you better or less than this person. And I think that's the problem. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, who think that because a woman or a man is in an abusive relationship or situation, that makes them weak.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
And that's not always the case. Like, everybody's dealing with something.
right. And it's not always so black and white. Like the abuse isn't or the person that's being abused or the person that's doing the abuse. It can be very gray, and it's not always the person you think, oh, she looked like she got low self-esteem, or oh, she's quiet, or oh, she's real, she's a pushover. Like, it's not always that person. It can be the person with the biggest smile on their face. It can be the person with the most confidence. It could be the person that you look up to. Like you said, you don't know what's going on in somebody's mind or home or relationship. So it could be the couple that you think is goals. It could be the celebrity,
Mm-hmm.
that you think is whatever. Like, we don't know. We only know what we know. We don't know a lot. But it's not always so black and white. And it's a lot. Some people, they have kids, they're married, there's history, there's money involved. There's a lot of different variables. I'm not saying those are reasons to stay, but for some people, those are things that make it harder to leave. And you don't know how that person feels. You can feel so trapped. And man, even if the abuse is physical, there's so much um,
Mm-hmm.
mental part of it. There's so much of an undoing that they do to you, where they're like kind of just breaking you down. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thankful that I got out of my situation pretty quick. It was
Mm-hmm.
toxic, and it was, I don't know where it could have led, but I do thank God that I got out when I did, because I could just see the unlayering of Corinne. I could just see like the stripping of who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
they isolate you, they have you second guessing yourself, and you could know who you are. Like, I know who I am. Like, I know who I am. But when that person gets their paws on you and they start their BS, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be a whole nother type of time. Like,
I don't think.
it's,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you could go.
I just don't think people understand how tedious the process is.
Oh,
I think people who haven't been in that situation, they think you go on a date and then the next day he slaps you,
right,
and then,
right,
or she slaps you, because it's not just women who are in these situations. But and then, okay, you're in an abusive relationship.
right.
Like, these people are predators. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that means that they are patient, they take their time, and they study their prey. You know what I mean? It's a whole process. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go slap her today and she's
That,
mine. No, like they really do. I mean, they're smart. If for lack of a better word, like they just know, okay, they see this little characteristic of you.
mm,
They see this word that you said.
huh?
They heard this word that you said. You know what I mean? Like they're taking notes.
Me too.
and
I'm laughing, but
and it's like
it's
it's so serious,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
And it's like every day they take something away. They take something away. They take something away. They take something away. And it's happening every hour, every minute, every you know what I mean? It's a
Unbeknownst,
very, very, very unbeknownst to you. Like you have no idea what's going on. And the whole time they're working.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're just laid back, like chilling, whatever. But this person is working 24/7 and they're taking little bits of you every time. And you don't even know what's going on.
Oh,
And then by the time you do know what's going on, you're in a whole situation.
you drowning. No.
You're drowning, suffocating,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't even like, and you just woke up that way. Imagine waking up in a pool of water, drowning. Like that's exactly what it's like. That was a perfect example, Rain.
And T, like you know, like grooming, like when people
Oh my God, yeah,
I'm thinking about it in terms of this. They groom you and they kind of
yeah,
whatever the opposite of groom is, they kind of do that too.
yeah.
So,
It's a whole process.
oh, it is. It's like they see a little hole in the wall. Like you know how you see a little, a little nick, a little something, and they
Mm-hmm.
okay. Nobody else probably noticed that. Everybody else sees the beauty in that wall, the bright,
Mm.
vibrant paint, this, that, and the third. They see the little
Wow.
hole. And they're like, oh, okay.
And they chip away at it.
Uh huh. Y'all
They chip away until it's gape the heck open.
see, did you ever like unload to a person like that and they didn't blink an eye? Like you didn't see them. You didn't see the wheels in their head spinning. Like let's say you say an insecurity to them, or you're just being vulnerable with them. And like me and you, we both read people. But have you ever said that to them and you could not have imagined the wheels that was spinning in their head, but they were?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and then you realize later on, like, wow, you used that? Like, I didn't even realize at that point in time that that was something that would come back like this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And okay, so one of the things that we hadn't touched on yet was physical.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on verbal and emotional first because I feel like those two lead into the physical.
Right.
Like I said, it's never just like, I won't say never, but most of the times it's not just somebody like, coming up and slapping somebody. Like usually it's one or both of those things that kind of lead to the verbal abuse.
Right.
And those are going to be the things that you need to pay attention um, to kind of steer away from the physical.
Right.
Now I'm gonna talk about myself as well. Again, so I won't say, and this could be just me being in denial, but I won't say that I was physically abused. But in one of my past relationships, we fought. Like we would square up. And it was like you see movies and stuff like where it's like the girl is like all shy, not shy, but like fearful and nervous, and she's like shaking, and like the dude is drunk and he just gets up and is like, shut up bitch, fix me dinner, like, you know what I mean? Like those are the type of scenes that you just see in your head when you think of like physical abuse. um and that's not what it was in my situation. Like and it's hard for me to call it abuse, like it really is, because I like to fight. Like I liked it. I like fighting at that point in time because it for me, my mindset in that, and I'm talking about early 20s. Like my mindset in that point in time was this this means passion. This means love. This means like there's a feeling behind this. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't be like this if we didn't love each other, if we didn't have some type of passion behind it. And it was also an inability to communicate. And I'm actually like this to this day. Like I'm not fighting anymore or anything like that. But like if I get past a certain point where I feel like we're not communicating, and this is with anybody, like man, female, whatever. Like, if I get to a certain point where I feel like we're just not understanding each other, where I'm unable to communicate to you, you're unable to communicate to me, we're just, it's arguing, like blah blah blah. Like, I just want to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, I don't know how else to make you understand what I'm saying. I don't know any other way for this to get through to you. I know that hitting you is not going to help, but it's like, that's the last resort. You know what I mean? And again, I said I'm like this to this day, but I know where that point is. Like, I've been through it enough to know, okay, I'm getting here. I need to walk away, or I need to go call my friend, or I need to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the things that you just learn throughout life. Like, you get to learn where your triggers are and where your levels are, so you don't get to that point. But again, just to go back to the physical abuse, um like there were times where, wow, okay, I'm gonna say this. So actually, when I was with the person that we were physical with each other, I actually met the one that was emotionally abusing me,
Mm.
and he knew about the physical abuse.
Oh.
We actually used to work together. So there were times where I would go to work with a black eye. Like, I had a broken jaw one time. Um, and we used to be friends. Like, we weren't together at the time that I was with the other one, but um, that was his end emotionally.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So he would take like that and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't." And he never the emotional one never put his hands on me ever. Um, but he used that to be like, "Oh, I would never do that." You know what I mean? Like, a man that put his hands on you was not a man, blah 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 blah. But he was still doing a different form of abuse, which wasn't even any better. And again, I'm not admitting to being in a physically abusive relationship, but it's kind of hard to say that when you're going to work with a black eye and a broken jaw. Like, it's just hard. But again, that was my form of like just not being able to communicate well.
Mm.
Like, we got to fight it. And at that time, I like that was like, and I know how they say like normally it's like a cycle. You know what I mean? Like, if you've seen your parents in that situation, then more than likely you're going to be in that situation as well. Like, I've never seen that. Like, I've never seen my mother get hit. I've never seen her, be in that type of relationship with another man.
Right.
So I don't know where it came from, but I know for a fact the person that I was with was in that type of environment. Um, but it just, so it's not always that stereotypical type of thing. You know what I mean? Where, like you said, it's not always black and white.
Mm.
A lot of the times it's gray as hell.
For real.
And that was my situation. Like, it's very hard for me to just pinpoint, oh, this is what it is,
Right.
or this is how it happened, or this is the type of person he was, or this type of person I was. Like, it just was what it was.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, it was toxic as all hell. Like, toxic. That's one thing I can say. It was just toxic. Um, and we fought.
And
But I do.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go finish.
No, I was gonna say, but I do know people that were in a situation that was different from mine, where they weren't like defending themselves, where it was just like them just literally just getting beat on.
Mm.
And that just saddens me, because I'm just only imagining like a guy on top of a woman, like punching her. You know what I mean? Like, that just like, you are really sick, like really sick. Or even if it's the other way around, a woman, like, there's women that get frying pans and want to beat up a dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, we just have to find better ways of communicating and getting rid of our trauma, because we're introducing this to our children, and it's just a constant cycle, and it's just crazy. But I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Don't be at all. Like, I want to thank you for sharing like your story. Like, as always, like anytime we're sharing something like this, like, it's helping somebody, and it's even helping us, like being able to say it. Like, it's scary because like that's big. Like, a lot of the things you just said, like, I'm one of your best friends and I didn't know. I don't
Yeah.
know to it because it's a touchy topic, and I just feel like you're freeing yourself. Do you feel, or do you feel like, how do you feel right now?
I feel, you know what? I don't know. You know, sometimes I don't know how I feel.
No.
I feel like there's more I want to say.
Mm.
I just don't know what it is. I feel like there's more,
Mm-hmm.
but it's gonna come out when it's supposed to come out.
That part.
So I don't feel completely like relieved or completely free because I feel like there's still something. I
Right.
just don't know what it is yet.
And it'll come out when it's due. Who knows? It can come out in a totally different episode. It can come out not even when we're recording. Like, you know, that's the beauty in that kind of stuff. Like when you are freeing yourself, it's not the scheduled, like, okay, I'm going to mention this, that, and then I'm going to be free. Like, it's all a part of healing. So, wow.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing. After that first relationship with the whole physical thing, I told myself, I'm never going to allow myself to get to that point. If I'm ever in a relationship where it gets physical, I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, the relationship with the guy that was the emotional abuser, we were together for officially for what, 2 years. At the end of that 2 years, I was literally, okay, this is maybe what needs to come out. So I was literally, um, I felt myself getting depressed. I felt myself with anxiety. I told you this, Ren, I would wake up some days, nothing even happened. Like we didn't have an argument, nothing. I would wake up with so much anxiety. I wouldn't even call it anxiety. I would call it danger. Like I would wake up in the morning feeling like my life is in danger.
Fight or
That's how.
mm-hmm.
Hmm?
No, I'm just saying fight or flight, like our body, like just the way it's set up. I'm listening.
Absolutely. Like it was so. That's how bad my anxiety was. Like you said, fight or flight. Like I gotta go or something has to happen. And now thinking back on it, that was just God telling me like you need to get out of this situation. Like it's not good for you. Um. So I actually had a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Once I had that panic attack, that was kind of like okay, something's not right here. Even though I had already knew before that, like I already saw signs or whatever, but that panic attack was like, yo, you gotta go. So we actually ended up having a real big fight, and like we were arguing, like he was just yelling in my face or whatever. And like I said, once I get to that point where it's like we're not communicating well, I get physical. So I'm actually the one that hit him. Like I hit him, and like right, I swear, as soon as I did that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pack my stuff. And I started packing my stuff. I packed up my car, and the next day I moved. Like, and that was it. Like, I never turned back because I remember myself saying, if you ever get to that point in a relationship, you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. And I know it's not that easy for a lot of people. Like, I understand that. But sometimes you just have to draw a line. You know what I mean? You have to be like, listen, this is not what I'm standing for. This is not what I'm going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and do it. And it's sometimes I don't want to take away from the victims because um, it's easy to just point the finger at one person. It's really easy to make one person a monster and one person a victim. And again, sometimes it's not always that gray. Like sometimes we do have to take accountability. And like I know it's not easy and I'm not coming down on anybody, but from being in the situation, I know sometimes you just have to pick yourself up and be like, this is what I'm going to do. And sometimes if you need help, try to find help. Like there's always a way. There's always a way out. Don't feel like you're stuck in a situation. And if you do feel that way, just try to find some type of outlet or a friend or a therapist or like, just try. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be the action. Sometimes it could just be the thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just try to change a thought. And it could just be one thought daily. Just as long as you're doing something to try to change the situation. Um, Manifest it. Like just try to think about you being in another situation. Like there's always something you can do to try to get out of it. And I know sometimes a lot of times it seems impossible. It seems like I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where I'm going to turn, who I can turn to, who I can talk to. Um, but a way will be made.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like I said everything.
Wow. It's a lot to say this stuff. Like, I'm sure there's some people that we're close to that don't know some of the things that we reveal on the podcast. And then it's just out there. And like you said, um, you it's just a lot. You can kind of forget that, not really forget, but like you're just doing your day to day and somebody's like, you said this and that. And it's just like, whoa, like it's out there.
Yeah, especially because with this one, it's such a heavy topic
Yeah.
and very like, so I could just be out in the field picking daisies
Yeah.
and somebody be like, "Why you was like getting hit and hitting?" And like, "Oh wait, whoa, I wasn't ready for that."
Right.
But I mean, shoot, we have to live in our truth, like, and I really do believe that people are going to take from what we have, from what we're saying in this podcast. You know what I mean? Like we've been saying this a lot, but we gotta be open and honest. Like there's people that are really going through some stuff, and we gotta talk about it.
You're brave for saying all that you said. And
Thank you.
yeah, that was a lot. I did want to say that we discussed a lot of relationship abuse as far as like spouse, but there are other kinds of abuse. You can get abuse from your parents, verbally, emotionally,
I was thinking that. Yep.
cousin, your boss, your coworker, your neighbor, like. So if you're going through that and it's not your typical story, or it's not what we kind of discussed, or it's not what the movie said, don't feel like you're alone. Abuse is abuse is abuse is abuse, and it's wrong. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. You don't deserve that. You deserve so much more. And I also want to say something that I think Queen T touched on. It's not always like it appears to be in the movie. So like you mentioned, what in your situation where you noticed it was toxic and you guys were both fighting one another, it wasn't the drunk man, the scared lady. It wasn't that scenario. We get so caught up with these scenarios and these textbook definitions of things, and we're like, oh well, we kind of question our own reality. But guess what, the truth is the truth. And if everything is not going to be the not the stereotype, everything's not going to be that book definition, and
Mm-hmm.
that's get difficult trying to decide what line it stays on. But at least you knew, okay, this is toxic. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I'm not quite sure what line is where, but it's toxic. And if you could just notice that, then that's great, because it gets tricky with trying to like, okay, here's an example. Totally off topic. Well, kind of off topic. Rape. You know how there's a lot of women that kind of like, well, I,
Mm-hmm.
but like it gets real tricky. But it's
Mm-hmm.
if you, it's tricky. That's a huge example. But you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get so caught up in, we start questioning just so much stuff. But like, toxic is toxic.
Right. And we know what doesn't feel right to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what matters. Like, not so much the definition.
Right.
Like you said, we can get caught up in like trying to define what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like, if it's not right, it's not right.
Right.
And that's what matters. And you can feel it, you know? You can feel when something is not right.
I used to be like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like up until very recent, like I used to always, like I would just question things because it wasn't exactly what I was taught. That's what it looked like. It was. I would question things, but that's me questioning my own reality, and I'm not doing that. Like I could look at it and try to understand it, try to process it, but everything is not going to be what Google says or what your teacher said or what your mama said. Sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
is, if you don't like it, go, or if it's not for you, remove it. Like there's a lot.
Mm-hmm. So, this street member asked us, what are some early signs? Like when, like you said earlier, sometimes there are no signs, or sometimes we're just not paying attention to them. But I do feel like there are some signs, like early on, that we can pay attention to that will kind of um, let us know this may not be the person for us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one of the most, remember I told you I'm going to have a list of questions that I'm going to ask on my first date?
Mm-hmm.
This is on the list. How is your relationship with your mother?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically your mother.
Mm-hmm.
If a dude or a woman, um, in a lot of cases or most cases, if they don't have a good relationship with their mother, or um, you know what, I'm gonna use dudes in particular because sometimes because women can kind of come from that. You know what I mean? They can kind of grow from that. Not saying that men can't, but in my own experience, I've seen it a little bit tougher for men to not have that because women are normally nurturing um at birth, not at birth, but just we just have it in us. And sometimes even if you don't get that from a mother, you can still kind of just like instinctively pick that up. But men, if they don't have that nurturing, they're not like that just like naturally. So um I'll use just men. Don't get at me, streets, but from my own experience, this is coming from. So I would say, to see how his relationship with his mother is. Okay, so I'll say this. I'll say for women, see how her relationship with her father, and for men, see how his relationship with his mother. I think that's a little bit better. So if he doesn't treat his mother well, if they have a rocky relationship, if he's cursing his mother out, not respecting his mother, that's how he's going to treat you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's normally the one person that we all should have, like, respect and love for. And I think it's really hard to honestly truly have love for a woman if you don't respect and love your own mother. And that's your first idea of what a woman should be and how a woman should be.
Mm-hmm.
So that can kind of stick with you.
Wow. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think that.
Because
Mm-hmm.
my ex was a narcissist, like textbook narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And after meeting his mother, I was like, oh, okay. I see why you are this way.
Mm.
So that's an early sign. What was I gonna say? I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's okay. Um, I was gonna say there's just so much that comes from those relationships or lack of. It's not to say that if you didn't have a good upbringing, you can't be a good person. But I do think that there's so much that comes from our childhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And there's a lot of people who just don't have, I feel like there's people who have outlets. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of how their childhood was, like, they may have had something where they were able to release whatever they were feeling. And then there's people who didn't, and it comes out in different ways. And sometimes those ways are extremely toxic, and sometimes those ways happen to be on other people,
Mm.
and it's sad. And sometimes we talked about this before also when we talk about the love languages. Like, there's a dark side to love languages.
Oh.
It's not always, quality time, words of affirmation. Sometimes love language means abuse,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how they were quote unquote showed love. So, you know,
Oh,
that's how they're gonna show you love.
you did say you wanted to touch on that to the streets.
Hmm. I'm sorry, what?
Did you ever mention that like in the podcast about the dark side?
No, I don't think so.
Is there anything else you want to tell them about that? Because that was a real good. When we had that discussion, I was like, wow.
I know, I know. I think that was basically it.
Uh,
Like, that there is a dark side. Like,
there,
some people just weren't shown love in the typical sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't know any other way. And that's how they show it. Like, they show it by manipulating. They show it by um hitting people. They show it by bullying people. Like, that's their way of showing love. And that can be argued. I know people are gonna say, like, no, that's not love. Love is, pure. Love is kind. Love is, yeah, but that's their way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this is the reality.
Right, exactly. It is. And just to wrap it up, because I know this episode is getting a little long. The last question that she asked us was when to know it's time to leave. Or, if we have any tips or suggestions on how to leave. And from my perspective, when I was in my situation, I knew it was time to leave when I physically felt it. You know what I mean? Like, I I was having so much anxiety. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel safe. Um, I didn't feel like myself.
Mm.
I just felt like it was almost like being stuck in a time warp, or just like a really weird place. Um, and that was just my light bulb. Like, once I realized that I wasn't being myself, I wasn't like, the people around me, or the people that know me and know who I am and how I am. Um, and I didn't recognize myself. And so that was just the thing for me that was like, okay, this is not right. You know what I mean? Like, I have to go. And I didn't have anything, thank goodness, that tied me to him in any specific way. Like, we didn't have kids together, we weren't married. Um, and I think throughout the years, I've kind of perfected the idea of loving from a distance.
Mm.
So I knew that there would be some way for me to be okay without this. And if I had to love him, if I was still feeling that feeling, I knew that I would be able to just do that from a distance. So, my recommendation to you would be to just cut all ties, because that's what I did and that's what worked for me. Um, it can kind of be a slippery slope when you decide to leave, but still talk, and, here and there, and, little phone calls, because you never know, like, the dominoes start falling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, I literally picked up and moved to a whole different state. um, I blocked him on everything, like all of social media. I blocked his phone number. Um, he tried to contact me. Like, he would leave voice. You block a phone number, they can still contact you by leaving messages and text messages and stuff. They just can't call you. Um, so he had a whole bunch of voice messages and stuff like that. Um, and I wouldn't answer. I think maybe like a month later, I ended up answering, and we had a long conversation. Like, maybe we were on the phone for maybe hour, 2, 3 hours. And at the end of the conversation, I was just like, okay, did you get everything off your chest? He thought that we were getting to a place where we were back comfortable again. Um, but in my mind, this was more of a closure conversation. So, I asked him if he got his closure, and he just didn't understand, like, where I was in that time of the conversation. And I was just like, I'm changing my number. Like, we're not going to be talking anymore after this. And he's like, no, like, I promise I won't keep calling you. Like, we can make it work, da da da. And I'm like, I'm changing my phone number tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did. And it's now been maybe over a year since we've been in contact. I think he tried to email me at one point. I was like, this is just getting ridiculous. But I would say maybe like a month after zero contact, it wasn't even a second thought anymore. It felt like a whole lifetime ago that we were even together.
Mm.
Um, it's almost like withdrawal. It's almost like going through withdrawal. Like you have to detox yourself
Mm-hmm.
from being in that type of situation, from being in a toxic situation, because there is a part of it that is addictive, depending on where your mindset is. So my suggestion and recommendation to you is zero contact, remove yourself from the situation, and just work on yourself, work on healing yourself, do things that help better yourself. For me, I really started meditating. I started focusing on my health, losing weight, reading, um, really focusing on my positive energy and being very conscious about the energy that was around me, whether it was family, friends, and that's what helped me.
Those are great tips. Those are really great tips. I agree with a lot that you said. It is,
Thank you.
you're welcome. It is tough, when you do have those ties, like, if there's like, children involved and other things involved. But it's, if you need to go, you need to go. And like I really believe that God will make a way if you have
Yeah,
the system, lean on them, and um when it's time to go, it's just time to go, and it could really save your life or just save your quality of life. But like legit, it could save like your life. Like at times, it's a life and death situation. Sad to say.
absolutely.
And sometimes we don't even see it get to that point. It can go from 0 to 100 real quick, and it's just a lot. So if it's time to go, regardless of the years or you know the love that's still there, if you know in your heart it's time to go, I really, pray and hope that you can find resources to make it easy for you to go. And just start building yourself back up. And when you said, what did you say? You said something about like, it reminded me like the Matrix, like
Mm.
it's of like when you're in it. What did you say? I forgot.
When you talk about when I was saying how I didn't feel like myself
Yeah,
and it just felt like being like in a time warp.
that part. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man. Yes. I think that's a huge like red flag, because like so many like people that I talk to or like things I read or research, like that said a lot. Like I just didn't feel like myself. Like it's just like you just wake up one day and you're just not you.
yeah, yeah.
So again, T, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and
Thank you.
what you learned from it. I mean, I feel like it really can touch and help somebody. Like, wow.
I sure hope so. In conclusion, I just want to thank you, the person who sent in this We Are Here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for trusting us with this information. I want to thank you for tuning in, enough to know that we even have this segment.
Right.
Um, and we are praying for you. We pray that your situation, um, that you are alleviated from whatever stress or pain that you are enduring in the situation, and that the questions that you need answered to the questions that you need answered be answered,
Mm-hmm.
whether you know it or not. I pray that it just happens, and that it doesn't become a even more stressful situation. So hopefully anything that we've said today, it can be helps you in any type of way.
Right. I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but we did leave a number um, that's like can be a resource for you or anyone else that wants to use it. We left it in the description, and there's a lot of things online. We're not experts, but if anyone needs assistance in finding, an outlet or a resource, like we're here. We're definitely here to point you in the right direction because it is something that we both feel strongly about, and we're just here, even if it's just to listen, pray, or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again, and please keep us in the loop. Let us know, how you're doing with the situation, how it's going, and um, yeah, we just want to stay updated with it.
Definitely, with no judgment.
All right, guys. So before we go, we want to leave you with a little gem. Go ahead, Miss K. Let the streets know what it is.
All right, so we did get a direct message about a week ago. Um, I still want to say about a week ago.
I was just thinking that, and I was like, Tanisha, shut up.
And I started doing the dance too. What is it called? The Bobby. What is it called?
Shmurda.
I'm doing it right now. Love it. So we did get a direct message from one of our loyal street members. Shout out to you, Destiny.
Hey, Destiny girl.
Girl, you show us so much love. You
Bye.
like amazing. You're a gem. You're always reposting us and like catching up with your podcast and just showing so much love, participating online with us and everything. Like, we appreciate you. And she gave us some feedback from our episode, Music Saved My Life, Chapter 30 Saved My Mind.
Oh, one of my favorites.
So when she gave this feedback, I was like, yes, honey. So she wrote us, hey, I want to put y'all on to two of my favorite songs. One of them is by my favorite singer, Monica, Why I Love You So Much. Oh my God, it gives me chills, as well as Raphael Sadiq, Acts of You. Oh my God, that song does something to my soul. Oh, and Mario, Let Me Love You.
Ooh.
Yes. So she put us onto three of her faves, which are amazing. So again, it's Monica, Why I Love You So Much, Raphael Sadiq, Acts of You, and Mario, Let Me Love You. Man.
Those are some knockers, like some bops.
Girl.
Oh, Destiny, thank you so much. We're actually going to add all three of those songs to our playlist called the Chapter 30 Podcast playlist on Spotify.
Yes. And
so thank you.
She said she agrees with us on Michael Jackson, Human Nature. So
oh, that's a magic moment song right there.
Yeah, so thanks, Destiny.
Wasn't she fighting us over Tupac?
Yeah, she was like, Tupac is mine. I'm like, girl, we can share him.
There's enough. We can all share him.
Yeah, it's enough to go around. So yes, thank you so much for participating.
Yes. What's her at?
Her at is its_your_Destiny00, and that's Destiny with an I. And she posts a lot of great positive things.
Yes, her story is always so like positive and uplifting. So, guys, make sure you please go follow Destiny on IG.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you want me to tell them?
Yes.
Oh, you sounded so sad.
It's hard to say see you later.
It's so hard to say see you later. Okay. Streets, this is actually going to be our last episode of this season. We are wrapping up season 1 of the Chapter 30 podcast with our 16th episode. I think this is a good number. 16 is good.
Mm-hmm.
And we know by the time that you listen to this episode, we haven't posted in a while. So we do apologize for that. As we always say, life is just, it has a mind of its own, and it's nothing bad. Like, we are both good on both ends. We just have a lot going on. So we decided to wrap up the season. But even during our hiatus, we are still working on some things. Like, Chapter 30 is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 30 is here to stay. Even if, we tried, she wouldn't let us. So we still will be working on some Chapter 30 things while we're on our hiatus. But, we did want to leave you guys with this one. We couldn't leave without giving you this one.
Right. And if you guys, have anything that you want to discuss or, anything, continue to email us and direct message us because, like she said, we're here. So we're still around.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So you know where to find us. We're on Facebook at Queen TK. We're on IG at the Chapter 30 Podcast. We're on Snap and Twitter at Chapter 30 Pod. And you can email us at the Chapter 30 Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in for 16 episodes. We love you so, so, so much.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you guys so much. Yeah. But we are here.
We're here.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Love you. Thanks for listening, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
And don't forget to follow all of our social media platforms linked below. And remember, peace, love, and perspective.